Hello and good morning. Thank you to all of you participating in PeaceNet every day. I welcome you and thank you. And I hope that you enjoyed the message from yesterday about the sacrifice that women have played in the Providence. It's truly incredible. It continues to this day. And I'm really grateful that our true mother not only pioneers the way forward for all of humanity, but especially women, and liberating, I hope, the hearts of our sisters, our wives, mothers, and maybe even the children who went through such sacrificial courses to offer their parents, their mothers especially, on the front line during those full-time, hardcore frontline missionary days. So this morning, actually, I wanted to share with you a few more words that our true mother shared with leaders right here. So I'm right here still in Korea. I'm looking out of my window up the hill through the mist, and I can see the Cheonjeonggung where true mother is right now. And I'm thinking back to the moments that our true mother gathered us all. You know, it was a few days ago. These are some words I'm going to share from April 26th. It's a few days ago now. I'm now, I think, the last man standing, the last leader here. I'm on my way to Bangkok today. And it's something truly remarkable. After all of the events are over, there's this quiet. And I'm surrounded by this beautiful nature here. Telling my wife about it every day on the phone is how beautiful it is here. I think really we should prepare to come here physically together with our families and together with our tribes. But what I want to do right now, I want to spend a few moments conveying Mother's words. And I really want to do this in a way that, I don't want to cloud it or get in the way between what Mother's saying and how I convey it. So keep in mind, I'm speaking in English. This is not an official transcript of her word. This is not even an official translation or interpretation. It's a live recording of Hyunuk's, live interpretation, and I've double checked it with some version of a Korean translated into English, but not perfect English. So I've and also a third layer of my own notes that I took at the time. So all of this is I think pretty close to what True Mother said, but I don't really want to put it up on PowerPoint presentations because it's certainly not an official transcript. And also, frankly speaking, these are words that Mother shared with the leaders in a meeting directed towards the leaders. And certainly we are representing the members, so we should convey Mother's heart and words. But, Mother speaks sometimes a little differently on a public stage in a rally versus, a more intimate setting. To tell you the truth, there's not huge differences, okay? It's not like there's huge differences and, secret meetings that I'm invited to by any means. But, I want to honor the fact that there are different settings. And certainly Mother might have a different mind when she's speaking to a big public crowd versus her top level team. I believe, however, that the quickest way I can convey Mother's heart to you is to share Mother's heart with you as directly as possible. So I'm just going to read off, okay, some of the words, and then maybe I'll intersperse her words with some of my reflections, and I'll try. When my eyes are looking over here and reading, I'm reading Mother's words, and when I'm looking at you, that's maybe when I'm adding some of my own environmental context so that you might be able to digest it or understand it better. So this is a morning meeting with True Mother. We've been invited up to the Cheonjeonggung. It's early morning, April 26th, and we are in this it's called the upper third floor banquet meeting room. There's probably only room for about maybe 80 people seated at tables, if you're not, during COVID season. But due to COVID season, there's not even that many leaders that could come here. And even those that were here, there's only so many that can fit in the room and remain 6 feet apart and so on. So again, we're in this room. There's probably 25, 30 of us, maybe maximum. And Mother is seated with True Family at one table at the end. And then we're in, sort of, there's 3 rows, I think, of classroom style seating. And we're there. And we're given some very simple refreshments. Speaking of refreshments, excuse me, we're there with some very simple refreshments, coffee and rice cakes. So in this case, True Mother, remember, this was the first time we had seen her in 14 months. In fact, this is the same day that I was called to report, and the same day that Mother shared about the 70 garments. But this was before all of that happened. On this day, Mother wanted to share first before receiving any reports or reflections. And this is what she said. The 61st anniversary of the Holy Wedding. It is a new era, and the new history began with Chon Il-guk. The appearance of True Parents in 1960 should have been welcomed not only by this nation, but also throughout the entire Christian foundation, had they known the providence of heaven. They were supposed to say, Hosanna, hallelujah, True Parents have come. However, True Parents had to begin from an unprepared environment because the Christians were not taking responsibility. You can't imagine the suffering and pain that we had to go through. There may be older people here, but no one knows the hidden truth. In other words, Mother was saying, among the leaders in the room, there may be elders here that were closer to that time, although I don't think there were any leaders in the room who were actually at the Holy Wedding themselves, but certainly some of them may have been sort of young kids at the time, kind of around the scene at the time. But Mother is saying that no one knows the hidden truth. That's what she said. No one knows the hidden truth. So I've got to say that the heart with which Mother is saying this is she's sort of sitting back. She's quite calm. But there's a certain tension, and it's not just because True Parents are speaking. There's different feelings, and I always try to capture and convey the feeling. That's even why I kind of describe the room, so that you can imagine what it might be like to be there. In a sense, we're all quite excited to be there. Most of us haven't seen Mother in over a year, and we're kind of looking forward to, but you've got to be on your toes. When you're with Mother, she might say anything. She might make you stand up and say, hey, you're now going to do this. She might ask anyone just to get up and sing, or get up and give a report, or hey, you're not going to do that anymore. I'm going to move you to the other side of the world. Anything is possible. And I'm sure that all of the leaders are kind of anticipating Mother sharing, kind words after having been in quarantine for 2 weeks. And it's the first time we're out, first time we see Mother in over a year. But actually the atmosphere is a little bit tense. I never mind the atmosphere. It's just whatever the atmosphere is, I want to kind of feel it and convey it. So then she goes on to say, the era up until 2013 was the era of the wilderness. So what is that? That's up until the time of Foundation Day. You may not know that the final years up till 2013 were days of patience and suffering that only heaven knows. So again, she's reminding us something we don't know. No matter how much we think we know, there's so much more that we don't know about that time, about the last 7 years. So you may not know that the final years up until 2013 were days of patience and suffering that only heaven knows. Who opened Chon Il-guk, Mother said? True Mother, the only begotten daughter, opened it. At that time, you who are leaders, and then she took a pause and she breathed out like, so in my notes, I entered, unsatisfied or dissatisfied breath. So, you can read in Korean, you can read in English, but you need to capture the pace, the timbre, the hue, what is the feeling behind the expression. And I've got to say that the feeling behind her expression in these words was one of, honestly, dissatisfaction. Okay? Dissatisfaction. And she's speaking to the leaders, okay? So keep in mind, she's speaking to the leaders. Of course, there's members among us who also may be also guilty of not understanding True Mother at the time. But it's fair to say that Mother's speaking to the leaders. And so I don't want to speak to you like this is Mother speaking to you and it's your problem. But clearly she's expressing in her heart, maybe more with her silence even than her words, she's kind of reminding us that we as leaders were the first ones who perhaps failed to understand heaven's point of view, failed to understand what true parents were going through up until Father's passing, and certainly we failed to understand what True Mother was doing as the only begotten daughter and what she was going through. We fail to understand. So what should you be thinking when you hear me say this? I think you should be thinking, why on April 26th, just a few days ago, was Mother saying this? Why is, after Foundation Day, okay, after the 2020, after the victorious 7-year course, after all of the recent events we've had since the Global Summit and now, why is she talking again about that 7 years? I think you should be asking yourself that question. Why is she talking again about that? She said, at that time, you who are leaders, and then she paused and just went, then she kind of switches gears and comes at it from another angle. She says, new wineskin had to be poured into new wineskins. Sorry, new wine had to be poured into new wineskins. And we had to change into new clothes in a new era. But you were not able to do it. Is that true or not? When I said, I am the only begotten daughter and I am the center and I will bring the conclusion of the providence, what did you guys think? She asked us that question. What did you guys think? I had to walk more silently on a 7-year course. A 7-year course that only I know. Although you can understand a little bit about my heart during that experience as expressed in my memoir, it is not fully expressed there. So again, True Mother is coming at it from another angle. She's saying, look, during that 7-year time, we had to be ready to shift. Foundation Day happened. We needed to be new wineskins so that we could receive the new wine. But we were not quite able to do it. We were not able to do it. When Mother said she's the only begotten daughter, we have to really question, were we able to receive it or not? When Mother said she's the center and will bring the conclusion of the providence, she's asking, what did we think? Well, no matter what we thought, okay, no matter what you thought, no matter what all of the members thought, no matter what all of the leaders thought, certainly her perception was, her internal antenna was that we didn't understand. if there was anybody that understood, there's very few people. And so it was an environment within which Mother was forced to go that 7-year course quite silently. Okay? I'm not saying she wasn't proclaiming. She was very active. She was very outspoken about everything she was thinking and doing. But what we don't know is what she wasn't saying. What we don't know is what she wasn't expressing. Now, I believe there's a lot that she expressed in that letter that she wrote to True Father, don't you think? And of course, there's a lot that she's expressed in her memoir. But what I just read to you, what I just repeated to you, was Mother saying, although you may have understood a little bit, even from my memoir, it's not fully expressed there. In other words, there's really nowhere that I've fully expressed what was in my heart. So again, how do you receive this? The question you should be asking yourself now is, why did Mother feel like we didn't understand? Or rather, the fact that clearly we showed that we didn't understand, what does that mean? What does that mean in terms of Mother's experience? And perhaps even what does that mean in terms of how it may have affected the last 7 years? And thirdly, what does it mean now and for the future? And again, what does it mean that she's saying this again now to the leaders? She's not just saying it because she's got nothing better to say. After 14 months of having not seen us, she's choosing to say this thing. We have to ask ourselves why. There's many questions we can ask. Again, how did I really understand what True Mother was saying when she proclaimed Foundation Day? Did I really understand that who she was? When she even said who she was, did I understand who she was? When I saw all that she was doing, did I understand who she was? When I read her memoir, did I even then truly understand who she was? And can I come close to feeling what she must have been feeling, understanding what she's been feeling? I mean, in these first 3 paragraphs of my notes, she must have said 5 or 6 times already that no one knew. Only heaven knows. Only true parents know what was in their heart. This was a time of new wine, and it was a time for us to be of new wineskin. That means we need to change. We need to be new vessels, new minds. So I think that a lot of what I'm conveying to you, we've already been discussing in depth, perhaps in Asia Pacific 1, having, as we're reading True Mother's book very deeply and going very slowly every day through our PeaceNet gatherings, I think a lot of this is familiar to you, but I'm sharing this with you as really hot off the press news from our True Mother, who's right up there right now as I'm speaking to you. And there's no accident in anything that she does. What she wears, she was planning weeks ahead, even what she would wear when she met us. What she would wear, the earrings, the the earrings, the clothes, everything. She was preparing for weeks, maybe months. We already heard that. I heard that from Wonju about 2 months ago, that she was longing to see the leaders when we could come, because she's longing to see you, and she needs to see us representing you. And so these were the very first words off of her lips as she met with us. So the content that she's sharing here, and like you always hear me say, not just what she is saying, but what is in between the lines in what she is not saying, all of these things should be digested within the context. Yeah, within that context. Why, after the 7-year course, is the very first thing she's saying to the leaders since she's meeting us again for the first time, is she talking again about this? Simply, I can say that she really wants to make sure that we are starting again fresh, that we're really ready to change. And I will share more with this. I'm not going to share more now because I want to give you time for the rest of the PeaceNet gathering. But I think this is enough for now just to chew upon, on top of everything I already shared with you for the Sunday message. But in a nutshell, Mother is asking us to reflect on really where we were at. And I believe for the purposes of giving us another chance to, as we start the new 7-year course, reflect on where we were at then, so that we can kind of learn from our mistakes and really recalibrate, reorientate where we are now. True Mother, the only begotten daughter, opened the gates of Chonilguk. We are now in the 9th, we've completed 8 years, and we're now in the 9th year of Chonilguk. We are already in Chonilguk. And our job now is to settle Chonilguk. But our work, our hard work, our sweat, blood, and tears will be worth very little if we are not connected to True Mother, the only begotten daughter, and really understand who she is and what she's doing. So again, to the degree that we can unite, I see the shape of the building now, like peering through the mist. I feel like even maybe as I'm speaking, I'm connecting to the Holy Spirit that's helping to part the clouds. So that's the kind of, physical image that really frankly represents the internal image, the internal vibration and dialogue that we surely must have with heaven, with God, with true parents, right now with True Mother. Gotta part the clouds so that we can see clearly where True Mother is at. Because if I can increase 1% of unity, then I think that will bless exponentially 100% everything that I'm doing. If I can increase 10% unity, it's like 1,000% increase on everything I'm doing. So look, you guys want to work hard and you want to make a good investment of your time. Asia Pacific One and everyone else that's watching. As far as I'm concerned, the golden rule is unity with Heavenly Parent and True Parents. And the substantial representative right now is True Mother. So we don't need to kind of look for another. It's True Mother. So God bless you. Sorry if this has been a bit long, but such precious content. And there's so much more to share. I'll share with you next. In the meantime, God bless you, PeaceNet. I love you. Have a great rest of the session. Adieu.